Um, our friend Randy, who some of you may remember as Garrett, mostly from the previous story. He unfortunately has passed away due to COVID-induced pneumonia. So I am bummed out. We had known, those of us that knew him, that he was ill. I didn't know how ill until Jason had said, hey, you need to check up on Randy. He's not doing too good. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't sound good. And then he told me that, he had gotten the shots, and the way I understood his messages back and forth, that it was after the second shot that he fell ill. So, not being a doctor or in his inner circle, the only thing I can say is that medicine is an art, it is not a science. And if he was the one in a million that actually was killed by the vaccine, well, I say fuck you. So that's all I can say on that. As far as, I haven't heard anything, and today is Wednesday, September 15th. He passed on Sunday night. I haven't heard yet anything about funeral and paying my respects or anything. But of course,
his son got in touch with me.
Bryce?
I was thinking Bryce. Yeah, he messaged me and asked me if I was the D&D person guy, and I was like, I'm one of them. So, but he said he didn't know anything yet about arrangements. And that was a couple of days ago.
Was that me, or was that one of you guys?
Must have been you, John. I'm on silent.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I've
never
heard my phone make that noise before.
Maybe that was Randy.
My friend at work tested positive for COVID today, and his wife tested positive yesterday. His son also had it, and so I was thinking I might come up to a service and pay my respects, but I don't know now. We'll have to see what. I'm not feeling ill or anything. Have to make sure that something stupid doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to make a donation in his name or something. I'm not going to send. I think flowers are dumb. I think it's better to make a donation for somebody.
So let me tell you a little about Randy. When we were little, he lived down the street with his little brother Derek and his mom Donna. Single mom. His dad had passed away early of Lou Gehrig's disease before I even met him. So they were just, the Rhodes. They just lived down there, and the mom was doing fine, like being a single parent. It was a normal house. Kids were totally involved in sports, and so, they were one of the neighborhood guys that would come up, and we'd play ball all summer and hockey in the winter and just all kinds of stuff. And being the oldest, occasionally he would have to box us about the ears, because that's what older kids do to younger kids. They gotta smack some sense into you, or maybe he was just having a bad day. He wasn't the bully type though, but just through being older, you got some privileges. And he was better than all of us at baseball, so that afforded him some extra prestige when you're 12 or 13 years old. And he was a couple of years ahead in high school. So I know he went off and joined the service after that, got married, and he had a medical discharge from the service. And then he went into the paper business, and I didn't see him for a long time, because you grow up and you make your own path, in life, and you know, his path took him over there, and my path took me over there. But then about the year 2010, things went south in my marriage, so I came back to the house I grew up in, and I could afford it, and I decided to start fixing it up. Well, as it turns out, by then, Randy was the local water guy. His mom had worked for the public water district forever, and so it would make sense that he could get a job there. And so it was one day I was just walking around the lake here, and he was driving the water thing, and I was like, "Hey man, what's up? Long time no see." And I was like, "Hey, you know, you're the guy that introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons, so you know, if you're not doing anything on Thursdays, you ought to come by." And surprisingly, in the game, you know, life takes its toll on you, and kids and divorces and ups and downs and money and all that shit. So he coming back around. Now this was probably 5 years ago maybe. And then finally I think that he used to do a lot of stuff with the like Little League sports. So whenever his kids grew up, I think he kind of wasn't as into it. He lived for the Boston Red Sox and other things, so we had that in common, at least the love of sports. Red Sox can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. But,
yeah, not so much.
But you know, I always gave him shit about it, and he was good-natured. And, so then he kind of came back into my life personally, and you know, after you get to a certain age, you let a lot of the childish things go away, or you forget. In my case, I can't remember half the shit that I did before I had kids. People tell me, "Hey, remember that time?" No, I don't remember that time. And that's without heavy drug use, so I come by it naturally. But it turned out, you know, we were, I would say good friends. We certainly weren't like best friends, just because, you know, when you get older, having a best friend takes a lot of energy. And if it's not who you're married, to, you could have an issue. And I had met his wife Sherry down at the store. They were shopping, and so I know her a little bit. I'm not sure she would remember me. But he was a good addition to the game. He was somebody that appreciated the natural chaos that the dice bring. Like me, he enjoyed rolling natural ones because it brought a sense of uh-oh to everything. But natural 20s were nice too. But I think we both almost sometimes get more joy out of the failure than the successes, because they're more easily used to twist the characters into knots. And he enjoyed the game, so that you know, he would come down to the store and get his lunch sometimes, and we would chat for a couple minutes, and I would tell him how I was going to screw over the players, and he would just laugh. And so, you know, he'll be missed, I'm sure, as should be noted most by his family and closest friends. His sort of 3-hour family, which was us over here or online. So I don't know if there's any quaint little, like in wrestling, they ring 10 bells, or if you go to the Jefferson Barracks funeral, they'll fire 3 rifle shots. Like when my mom and dad passed, they're both buried up there, so they gave the rifle shots. So I'm going to start the, okay, we're going to roll the pink die, and we're going to, And that'll be my send-off to our dear Randall. And it's a 2, but we'll just kind of fudge it and make it an 18. So, anyway, he'll be missed, but with anything, when he was ill, he said, fellas, just away suddenly, I'd be like, go man, roll them bones and have a good time and put a couple in my casket if you can. He didn't leave his dice here, so I can't necessarily do that, but plus I don't know if that would be viewed as anything other than weird by his close friends and family. So I don't think they know me enough, except for his brother Derek, who would probably appreciate it because he and I were both introduced to the game by Randy back in like 1984. So at least actually playing it. Daryl had mentioned it before then in school, but I never got the chance other than to him to say, oh, you can be whatever you want. So anyway, rest in peace, Randy. If this was ale, but it's water, here's to you, and I guess we will carry on.
Thanks for the comment. I wasn't sure. I was not aware that he fell ill after getting the shot. So that's good information to know. Did he get it because of work, or was it a personal decision?
That I don't know. I know before then, expressed his desire not to be vaccinated.
I thought that was his position.
So whenever he told me that he was very frustrated that he got it after the second shot, that kind of makes it even more like fucked up, I think. I mean,
yeah.
Because
Randy and I had similar political opinions, so we talked about that offline, and we wouldn't do that on the Jim Jam
No.
site, but yeah. And we both talked about the vaccination and stuff, and he was definitely against it. For the more or less the same reasons that I had, so.
That creates a whole new level of straightness if his job made him get the thing, and then it's what killed him.
Yeah,
I didn't get to know Randy very long, but I enjoyed his company every week. And I was curious. I was led to believe, or I incurred somehow, that he had some kids, grown kids in the military too.
Yeah, I know. I haven't met his kids, so I just know there's one in California, and then there's one still in Missouri, and then I think he also has a daughter. We just didn't really talk a lot about other things besides sports
Right.
or D&D, and he did mention it, but I'll admit, it was just all kind of chit-chat. It wasn't any serious, hey, we should have a family barbecue kind of thing. It just wasn't set up that way. I know Bryce, he did send me a friend request on Facebook, but I did accept it, but I was kind of hesitant about starting a conversation with him ahead of the funeral. I'd like to talk to him there. To me, that seems a little more like real, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I look forward to meeting, hopefully, and that's probably why there hasn't been any funeral yet, because his son is, I don't remember his name, but he's out in like San Diego, I think, or California in the service. So there may be an issue with him being able to come in at a certain time. And who knows, he could be like on active something or other, or on a mission, or I don't know. So yeah, who knows. But yeah, I've seen a lot of the kids that he coached talking about how they'll miss the coach and that makes a lot of sense. he was into that stuff. So so apparently he was a positive on the overall scales of whether you were a worthwhile human being. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, as far as actually playing tonight, I admit I haven't given it much thought.
I wondered if you would be up to it.
I mean, it was a nice distraction last week because he was still with us, and I actually was thinking that he was going to get better based on some of the information that we had received. So when one of his friends from the coaching thing I saw at the store, and I said, "Hey, you're friends with Randy, aren't you?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's sad news." And I was just like, "Oh no." So that's how I found out. I mean,
Wow.
which, no matter how you find out, it's going to suck. So I guess
Right.
that's as good a way as any. And then that guy said that he would get a hold of me when something was worked out. I'm assuming he'll be out in Cedar Hill. That would make the most sense. So, but anyway, there you have it. I guess he would be my first official longtime friend from the neighborhood now that's gone. I can't think of anybody else that has passed away yet, at least not that I've heard about. There's like, a few guys or girls that you know from 5th grade or younger, and as far as I can think of, they're all still around, but with varying degrees of health. I mean, none of us in our mid-50s, the late 50s are going to be fucking, hopefully not climbing trees or carrying shingles on a 100-degree day, or Randy was still out there fucking digging with the water company. So without breaking any HIPAA laws, he did have some other things going on that he didn't like talk about, but he didn't really hide it either. It was a matter of, well, I've got this and I've got this. So as far as his demise relating to the shot or COVID, it's like just COVID's a dick and ruins everything. So
Yeah, I didn't know if he had any other kind of health issues.
I mean, like I said,
I didn't ever ask. That's not something you ask him. Hey, by the way, do you have diabetes?
Right.
Nowadays, it's going to be like that. Hey, by the way,
What have you got?
let me see your VD card.
Yeah.
Like, what?
yeah. So
Show me a paper.
yeah, those are one of them's supposed to keep you alive. The other one's supposed to keep an eye on you, I guess. So I know there's a certain segment of our population that believes that vaccines equal Hitler. I don't particularly subscribe to that analogy, but whatever makes the world go around, I guess.
Entitled to their opinion.
Yes. So anyway, Jason, I saw you had headed outside for a lately, so
Well, I'm just expecting something to be delivered. That's why I was going out there to see if they were there.
No, I was just saying that I don't have anything really prepared or for tonight. I hope that I would
This
guess.
is in remembrance.
Yeah, I would guess you would understand that my mind was a little somewhere else. So anyway, for those of you who are watching this later, just know that Randy was a good guy, and he'll be missed. And you would be lucky to have one friend like that at some point. I have a few of those, so to lose one is not good, but it does make you take stock of your decisions, and hopefully at some point you're like, all right, cool, I can count on that motherfucker, and then you can look at other people and go, yeah, I can't count on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, anyway, any last words, gentlemen? We'll start with Jason, please.
Yeah, I only got to meet Randy when he let me start playing Gaspar again for that end of that adventure. And I regret that I won't get to meet him. I was looking forward to coming up there and meeting him. Because, I mean, he seemed like a great guy. We had some good conversations out of the game. And he enjoyed the game. We also talked a lot about the game. So, yeah, in the short time that I met him and knew him, I thought he was a great guy.
Daryl, anything?
No, I think you guys have said it all pretty well. Just, I appreciate that little story you told about him, because I knew that you guys had known each other, but I wasn't sure, exactly how. So that enlightened me a little bit.
Right on.
I'll miss him.
All right, brothers. Well, like I said, my heart ain't in it tonight. I'm kind of bummed out. I was bummed out for the past few days of work, but at some point we have to say goodbye. I will do that at the funeral. You guys are, without putting words in your mouth, it's certainly understandable if you can't come all the way from wherever you are for a funeral.
Please express our sympathies.
Yeah, but the thoughts are understood, especially by me and the people that matter. So I will certainly express to his family that his D&D family will miss him. Good night. Good night, Internet. Rolling 20s in heaven, Randy.